Hi, y'all. Welcome to Griffon Show. Already hump day. Brandon getting closer to Brandon's favorite day of the work week, which is Friday. He loves Fridays till football season starts. Then he loves them even more.
Oh, yeah.
No, I say you love him even more then.
There's no doubt during football season.
And see, I don't work Fridays, so Thursday's my favorite day of the week.
You don't work Fridays?
I don't work Fridays.
We got to have a talk. I got to figure out how to get on that schedule.
Neither does my wife, by the way. She doesn't work Fridays either.
It's nice. Oh, it's nice.
I'm thinking about adding Saturdays to my workforce. You guys are taking on Friday. Brandon, you're right. If it was Friday, you didn't work Fridays, Thursday would be your favorite day of the week. Anyway, by the way, folks, I got Congressman Ralph Abraham's going to join us in just a few minutes. But I want to bring back in, as we do every couple of weeks, Dr. Kevin Lindeman. And, of course, corporate wellness programs is what he's all about, the Bryant Wellness Institute. And, by the way, how did your program go last time? I know you had a bunch of people from the program called, and y'all booked it up. What was that?
Yeah, it was on diabetes. And listen, we helped so many people. That was and for all our listeners out there, I really appreciate y'all partaking in that. We had such a good time. It was really a great program.
Well, you had an opportunity to probably help some people.
We did.
Trying to get that under control, which is a very tough thing.
So I wanted to bounce back and talk a little more about corporate wellness today. And, you know, I'm often asked when I do these corporate wellness programs for companies, and the reason that's so important is a healthier workforce means more productivity, less sick days, less workers' comp claims, and all of that adds up for a better profit margin for our local companies.
Absolutely.
And so these corporate wellness programs are real important. But I'm often asked, what is the number one problem we see with the workforce today? Like, if I had to pick one thing that I could go into these companies and do, what would be the number one thing? And that's what I want to talk about today. And that is unmanaged stress. And that is by far one of the number one problems that companies are dealing with.
So when you saw me laughing, that's a good thing, right?
It is a very good thing. It is.
By the way, I was laughing at Doc, Brandon, laughing at me. And I said, ain't that healthy? He said, Moon, that's very healthy.
Very healthy, yeah. And so doctors tell people all the time to lower their stress. But how do you do that? I mean, life is stressful. You know, the traffic's not getting any better. The bills aren't going away. Life is just stressful. So the key to this is to manage the way that your body deals with stress. Now, 50% of all doctor's visits are from unmanaged stress. And if I could just fix this one problem, I could cut your staff's health problems, their health care costs, their sick days. I could cut that dramatically if we just handle unmanaged stress. And so the key here is to change the way the body adapts to stress. The stress is always going to be there. You know, that's never going to go away. But if we can improve the way the body deals with stress, then we can eliminate these stress problems. And your stress glands are your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands are the glands of the body that deal with stress. And so when we're under stress, our adrenal glands become active. And stress causes a physiological response in the body called fight or flight. And so our bodies literally respond the same, even if we're in traffic and we're late, or if we're being chased by something. This stress response is the same.
Let me ask you a quick question about that. I know a lot of people bring stress. It may not even be at the job. It may be at the house.
Right.
Am I wrong by saying that?
Yeah.
So when they're coming into a workplace, they bring that with them.
Yeah.
Now, and then if they got the job, that kind of doubles it up.
Yeah, and then if they're in traffic coming to work, and it all adds up.
I've heard and read that stress can cause a lot of what happens in your whole body.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it causes cancer, but I'm just saying your body breakdown can allow things to happen. I've read that. I've heard that. People have told me that for years.
It's true. And so the adrenal glands are your glands in your body. They sit on top of your kidneys, and your adrenal glands are the glands that get affected by this everyday stress. So the bottom line is this, Moon, we weren't designed for that. Stress was supposed to be short-term, fight or flight. Something's chasing us. We get away. Everything's fine. But what happens when we have this stress day after day, week after week, we end up with a burned out adrenal system. And so,
by the way, I've had a history of kidney stones. All of them was the most stressful part of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
They told me it was tea. They told me it was caffeine. I'm not saying that ain't part of it, but most of it had to be stress related.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you just mention that about the kidney and all that stuff? That's why I brought that up.
Right.
So say I'm helping you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brandon's going, leave it old Moon.
And so here's what happens. When we go into fight or flight response, our blood pressure goes up. Our body diverts the blood from our stomach to our arms and legs because it thinks we're going to fight or run. We might just be in traffic, and our body's putting blood in our arms and legs like we're going to fight. And so our digestive system shuts down. our sleep hormones aren't produced. So just imagine if you're laying there in bed tonight and you hear your front door glass kick open, and you get your pistol and go down there, and the cat just knocked a vase off the mantle, and that was the glass.
By the way, don't shoot the cat.
Yeah, but you're not going to go back to sleep right away.
No,
you're going to be shaken and stressed out, and so stress affects our sleep hormones. And the last thing it does is it causes an overproduction of cortisol, which is a weight storing hormone. So people that under stress have high blood pressure, digestive problems, sleep problems, and weight problems.
Here's what people are waiting for you. Tell people how to get in touch with you because you do help companies.
Right.
And that's what we want you to tell them.
Exactly.
Tell people how to get in touch with you, Doc, because if there are companies out there going, wow, this guy may need to come into my company, that's what you're looking to do.
Absolutely.
So tell people how to get in touch with you.
And so if they want to talk to me about doing a corporate wellness for your company, it's 837. Well, let me give you the area code because it's statewide. It's 337-837-7174, or you can join us on Facebook at the Bryant Wellness Institutes, or you can even get us online at thebryantwellnessinstitutes.com. So I look forward to helping companies out there have a better profit margin, a better bottom line by improving the health of your employees. It's so important.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, guys.
Good luck to you. See you in a couple of weeks. All right, we'll go to Congressman Ralph Abraham. Congressman, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. That was a great discussion on stress.
Well, we're trying to help you out. In the position.
The Democrats need that more than we on the Republican side.
Well, look, I'll see if Dr. Lindemann can fly to Washington. We'll start with the Democrats and work our way up.
There's quite a bit of stress right now. So,
you heard what I said, though? We'll start with the Democrats and work our way up.
There we go. That sounds like a good plan.
All right, Doc, Social Security gun bill. I was waiting for signature from President Obama rule that would have immediately stripped 75,000 disabled Social Security beneficiaries of the Second Amendment right. Tell me what's going on with this.
Well, look, we saw that come down last year from the Obama administration at one of those midnight hours where they wanted to withhold gun rights from our seniors that were having a fiduciary or somebody to help them with their finances. The Obama administration wanted to label them as mentally deficient so that they could not purchase and they could not own a gun. So certainly I jumped on that and said, that's crazy. Sam Johnson, who's a wonderful congressman, co-sponsored or co-authored this bill with me to stop this, and we were very fortunate to get it passed both in the House and the Senate, and if President Trump will sign it, that will make this ridiculous rule go away so that, our seniors can, take care of their Second Amendment right and do what's right as far as I'm concerned with gun control. It was just another way for the Obama administration to get their hooks in gun control.
Yeah, I'm trying to think out loud here. Congressman Ralph Abraham, 5th Congressional District, my special guest. I'm trying to think, why would a president ever push something like why any president would push this? I know Obama pushes everything un-American you can possibly. Why would you even worry about this?
Again, he met resistance from certainly folks like you, folks like me, the good people of Louisiana and the good people of the nation every time that he would push the gun control issue. This was a way he tried to sneak in the back door and start chipping away at our fundamental rights as an American citizen. And again, we were just fortunate to catch it and, make sure it was reversed. And President Trump will sign it, and it will go away. So it will be a thing of the past, and that's a good thing.
Well, we hope we continue to see things go away from the Obama administration. It looks like
you're going to see a lot. You're going to see a lot of things go away.
Let me ask you a question because a lot of complaints. I say a lot of complaints. People say, Republicans aren't moving fast enough. And I know it takes a little while to get everything done. Do you think his agenda's moving fast enough? Not at all. Should be moving fast. I know the Democrats have done somewhat of a good job of trying to stop appointees and all that kind of stuff. But do you think his agenda is going to pick up the pace? And I'm going by what people are saying and what I'm reading. I know some things take time, Congressman.
Well, and they do. And, I understand the frustration. But, in Washington, D.C. and in the halls of Congress, this administration is moving at light speed. I mean, look at what President Trump has done in the last, 34 days he's been there now. In Congress, we on the House side have passed numerous bills that are waiting on his signature. The Senate is a little slower, but the reason they are is, one, the process, but two, we've got to get through all these confirmation hearings.
Sure.
And again, we are doing, I think, well at this point of the game. You will see the pace pick up even quicker once we get these confirmations out of the way. So, what I can tell you that in the next 3 to 4 months, there are going to be numerous more things that people are going to be cheering for, standing up and applauding come to fruition.
Yeah, I did something I normally don't do, which is against my mental health. I actually watched a clip from MSNBC, and I'm telling you, mentally, people that watch that really have mental problems. I'm convinced anyway. But anyway, I watched it, and it was amazing how that lady kept saying the Trump administration is in a mess, it's in a chaos. And I'm going, I don't see that. What are they talking about when they say that? And they say it every day.
The president and the vice president, they're very measured, logical, straightforward people. They basically are doing what they said they would run on. And unfortunately for the Democrats, facts get in the way sometimes. And this is what they're having problems doing. All they've got is their bark. They don't have the votes in the House. They don't have the votes in the Senate. And they certainly don't have the presidency. So, the conservative agenda is going to continue to march forward. It's going to march forward very quickly. And, in a few months, people are going to look back and say, wow, this is where we need to be going as a nation.
Couple quick items for you. You're going to have to give me the short. Do you have a few more minutes?
Sure, I do.
Okay, let me do this because I don't want to cut you short, and I did have a guest before you. Let me take a quick break. We'll come back and give you another 7-8 minutes. Sure. Congressman Ralph Abraham, 5th Congressional District, 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. He's on the Hickson has that hotline. We'll take a break. Be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program. We got Congressman Ralph Abraham, 5th Congressional District, the great state of Louisiana, and we've been covering a few issues. You're talking about the pace of the Trump administration. I have no problem with the pace. I know things take time. I understand that. Let me just throw a couple. Obamacare would be the big one for people like me where I'm really getting tore. But it's not just me. It's a lot of people. Somebody getting subsidies, they think all this thing is great. But even as people getting subsidies have seen skyrocket premiums and skyrocket deductibles. So what do you think, really, in all your heart, where we're going to be with Obamacare in the next few weeks, months, or years? I'm just curious, because for me, I need a break.
Yeah, it'll be in the next few weeks. This will happen very quickly. And as you alluded to, 9 out of 10 people that are on Obamacare are getting subsidies. And in 2016, last year, that was to the tune of $52 billion of taxpayer money.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it must be. And again, even with that, the premiums, your deductible was $4,000 to $6,000. It's out of control. Aetna just got out last week of the Affordable Care Act, and with them leaving the marketplace, now 40% of counties and parishes in the nation have a single payer, and that is the federal government. And again, the government is good at nothing as far as business. I don't want the government in my exam room between me and the patient. It's falling apart on the Republican side. We're actually going to fix this to a point where people can have premiums that they can afford, but it's going to happen.
When you say
next 4 to 6 weeks.
When you say, let me just use your numbers, and I'm not holding you to it because nobody really knows probably, but when you say 4 to 6 weeks. A person like me, where my struggles or the premiums are outrageous because I'm an individual, little small mom and pop business, that's me. Plus I got a special needs child. And my premiums, all that stuff has gotten ridiculous.
Right.
When do you think I will be able to go in the market and go, okay, now I can make a change? Do you think that happens by July 1st? Do you think it won't happen to next year? I know when you pass things, sometimes it takes a while to get everything going. When do you think someone like me, there's millions, I think it's way more like me than the ones that are getting subsidies. When do you think that time frame would be, Congressman? I'm not holding you to it. I'm just curious what you're looking at.
But it's a perfect question, and you are correct. Things, once even we pass them, it takes time for the insurance companies to spool up, reset premium prices. What I predict and what we have been told pretty specifically in the Congress halls is that within this year of 2017, you should be able to go into the market and say, hey, my premiums are coming down finally. So we will repeal.
So sometime this year, maybe. Sometime this year. Okay.
We will repeal and replace in the next 4 to 6 weeks. But for that to trickle, to the point where you actually see it writing that check in your checkbook for less amount of money, sometimes in 2017.
Well, I tell you, look, I don't like to get in my business on this program. I never have until insurance came up. But Maddie takes seizure medication.
I understand.
Okay, one of the pills is $1,800 a month. That's my pocket. That's not insurance. Now, we were able to send Maddie back to the doctor, and that pill. Now, I want you to check this out. That pill now, it's called Kemper. I'm paying $49. Now listen.
I used to prescribe it. Yeah.
Okay, $1,800. I can show you the check and everything. God is my witness. I wouldn't say that wasn't true. I'm now paying $49, only because we were able to go to a generic. And so my question to you is, how the hell can that be $1,800 to $49? Now I got to tell you, I may get to take my wife out to eat again this year.
and I'm sure she deserves it many times. But you're right, Moon. I mean, Trump has hit his head on also, is bringing drug prices down. I mean, it's ridiculous. I understand that companies have to recoup some research and development, but come on, they don't have to do it at $1,800 a pill.
I only got a minute left. Tax reform, we'll see it this year, and will it take place by next year? What do you think?
It will. Yeah, it's going to happen probably in April or May. Corporate taxes will be reduced from 35 to either 15 or 20%. Individual taxes will only be 3 categories. They will be less in each category. And you will be able, on the individual, hopefully, to file your taxes on a postcard. The tax code right now is 7,000 pages. Nobody can understand it. It's out of control.
If you could,
but it's going to get a lot better quick.
You could do it on a postcard. People like me would be real happy. It just needs to be simple.
That's our goal.
Yeah, it needs to be simple. And I was just kind of curious. And the last thing, and just a few seconds left, I want to see them build a wall or enforce the immigration policies.
They're going to do it. The wall will be built. We will appropriate the money. And, we've got to stop these flow of illegals, these flow of drugs, these flow of felons. They're just bad,
And by the way, Congressman,
bad hombres.
We're talking about illegals. I'm not talking about immigrants. I'm not talking about illegal immigrants.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Congressman, we'll do it again. God bless. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys.
More to come on the Moon Griffon Show. Boy, I got a lot loaded up today. Don't all go nowhere, folks. We're just cranking it up. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. I got some stuff from Baton Rouge. We're going to get to that later in the program, probably during the second hour of the program. It's a bunch I want to share with you. What a joke. What a joke. What a joke Jay Darden's becoming more and more and more and more. I'll get to all that and run this. Matter of fact, there was a nice little rear end whipping by Lance Harris. Because Jay thinks he's better than everybody else. I know what part of Baton Rouge he comes from. Darden said he was just consistent with the characterization of Barra's bill. Lance Harris said members considered Jay Darden remarks flippant and disrespectful. He is a disrespectful guy. Very disrespectful. You got a Republican helping the Democrats. And by the way, quick question, I'm going to move on. Where's the state Republican Party trying to help our guys to stop the craziness coming out of Baton Rouge? They're quiet as a mouse. Nothing. They don't go against the great Jay Darden. They don't go against the great John Hilario. State Republican Party. Shh. Don't mention us. We're hiding. And get to that later in the program. All right. Folks, I told y'all I watch MSNBC, one clip. And MSNBC says and you're going to hear this, I'm going to play it. It's their job, our job, to control exactly what people think. Now, the lady says this toward the end of the deal as they're blasting Trump because Trump is ripping the media, rightfully so. He didn't say they couldn't cover it. That's not what he's trying to do. He's not trying to, like John McCain said, get rid of the media, cover the dictator. That's not what he's trying to do. He's holding them responsible, Brandon, is the way I look at it. Trump's holding the media responsible for every little thing they say, and they don't like it. But this lady says it's our job to control exactly what people think. Folks, it's not my job to do that. And when you start having a mentality, there's the propaganda. And that's what they did under Barack Obama for 8 years. Never criticize the worst president we ever had and probably will ever have. Well, I pray that's it. Anyway, listen to the clip And listen very carefully. MSNBC, a host of these crazy people, nutting up and listen.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I hear. What Yamiche just said is what I hear from all the Trump supporters that I talk to who were Trump voters and are still Trump supporters. They go, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah, if you look at the issues.
You heard that? Now, Brian, can you go back? She says he's trying to control what people think because he undermined the media, undermining the facts, fake news. And not to mention that the economy's not doing as well. The economy sucked under Barack Obama. They don't talk about the $10 trillion worth of debt they ran up to keep the economy going. Nobody talks about it on the left. They crazy. But listen to this chick again. I'm sorry. Let me be respectable. Listen to this nutted up, crazy blowhard. I didn't want to be ugly, Brandon. Well, listen again.
The edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah, if you look at the issues.
Brandon, you heard it yourself, didn't you? How can Trump control what people think? And by the way, it's not his job. According to the lady in MSNBC, it's their job to control what people think. Folks, these people have lost it. They really have, but they've been doing this since Obama came along. You heard them slide in the economy. When did they ever talk about the economy under Barack Obama? You know what they kept saying? Look at the unemployment rate. Look at the unemployment rate. Everybody's hollering from our side going, yeah, but look at the 15 million people not working. Look at the 15 million people that lost their jobs. They don't even trying to go get a job under Barack Obama. They weren't even trying to go get it. That was such a bogus number. It's 4.7%. It's bogus. The whole thing is bogus with these people. The press is fake news. And they're getting worse. They're getting worse. The economy may not be doing well. Oh, all of a sudden Trump came in, it's not doing well. I mean, how can the economy be doing well when you, look, folks, I've read about it. Inflation is going to start up because of the amount of money we printed and borrowed. That has a lot more to do with inflation than anything Trump's going to do. I'm telling you, folks, they cannot wait to jump on unemployment numbers going up. And they're going to go up because and I said this, Brandon, I think you remember this. I said when Donald Trump came in, the first thing he ought to do is go get the real unemployment numbers and start putting them out there. Because the first thing they were going to do was, unemployment's easing up. The economy's getting rough under Donald Trump. Because they're idiots to believe Barack Obama saved the economy. He ran up $10 trillion worth of debt. It was only $10 trillion run up from George Washington to George Bush. They never touched it. They never touched anything. They shoved Obamacare down our throat, which, by the way, was nothing but a shell that they've been filling in the blanks for 8 years. But what is the big deal? It's our job to control exactly what the people think. Imagine no talk radio, no Twitter, no Facebook, no Fox. And we had to get our news from ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN. What do you think we would be thinking? I mean, the manipulating of one's mind by the press is phenomenal. And the lady sits there, Trump is trying to control what people think. That's our job. He's the president of the United States. He's not putting up with their crap. That's what's happening. They can't handle it. They cannot handle it. These people are nutting up. Now, you think this is some nutting up going on. Brandon, I don't know if you found it yet on the Fox News audio, the crazy woman with Tucker Carlson. Now, I don't have enough time to play this in this segment, but Brandon, when we come back, I want to play this if you didn't see this. This is one of these Looney Tune protesters. Folks, pray to God I never think anything like this crazy woman. This is the left. The left wants socialism. They don't want to go to Venezuela and say, here's what y'all want. Healthcare system like Cuba and Venezuela, an economy like Cuba and Venezuela. They don't have any food. They're losing weight. There's nothing because the government has beat people down to think what they wanted to think, and they use the propaganda of the press. One word, one way, and that's what the press has done to us for 8 years. So I want to come back and play this lady. If you think this lady's sane, please call me and let me know where you get that this woman is sane. Matter of fact, makes me feel like a Rhodes Scholar, Brandon. I don't have to be bright to listen to what this lady says. But by the way, it's Tucker Carlson's program, Watch Who Dominates, because they can't stand taking a question.
This is the same one that called President Trump more dangerous than Hitler?
That's her. That's what I mean. Oh. You think they've done no homework in who Hitler really was? I mean, they've done no homework to what socialism and communism is about. This is the crazy lunatics of the left. By the way, Brandon, there's a big article, too, that the socialists are making their way more heavily in the Democrat Party every day, and that they're doing everything they can to get them and push them further left. They're begging them to go further left. And so it's funny to watch, and in a sad way, when you got people that believe in this stuff, it's pretty bad. So anyway, and Trump has made some other decisions. We'll get to that all. And don't forget, I hadn't forgot about Baton Rouge. Trust me, I haven't. But I want to play this when I come back. We'll deal with Baton Rouge in the second hour of the program, and there's a lot there, and I'll get to that as well. So you're listening to the Moon Griffon Show, 844-766-6607. Take a break and be right back. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us, 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Before I get to the nutting up, I do want to mention, we bought our house. My wife really insisted that we get a security system. She wanted to feel like she was protected, and she wanted to feel like the home would be protected when we're not there. So I started looking around, and I came across Acadian Total Security. And boy, am I glad I came across Acadian Total Security. Go to AcadianTotalSecurity.com and find out everything you need to know about true home security system. Innovative. Things that you can now be mixed in on your iPhone. You can actually set the alarm. You can see everything through your phone. You can actually look at the cameras. It is one of the neatest systems I've ever seen. And Acadian Total Security, Acadian Ambulance, and that's the same folks. But they really do have a plan for your home or your business at Acadian Total Security. They'll customize yours just like they did mine. We got everything we wanted, and some things we said, no, we don't really want to go that far. But you can just about get everything. There's a remote app, outdoor cameras, motion sensors, indoor cameras, door window contacts, and, of course, the big sign is saying, hey, we're protecting your home. Acadiana Total Security. Here's the number, 855-222-3426. Let me slow down. 855-222-3426. Or go to AcadianTotalSecurity.com. That's AcadianTotalSecurity.com. Hey, get what I got. I feel better about it every day. All right, Brandon, let's play this. This is, make sure I get this right. This is off Fox News. This is basically Tucker Carlson interviewing these protests. And you're going to hear stuff like Hitler. And if you listen to the woman, Tucker can't even get his conversation in, really. Listen, this is the crazies that we're fighting with now.
Trump has been a month in office, and America has not become a totalitarian death state just yet. Regardless, some are still trying to ignite an uprising to throw him out of power. A group called Refuse Fascism says its goal is to, quote, drive the Trump-Pence regime out. They describe it as illegitimate, a cabal of, quote, white supremacists, women haters, science deniers, religious fundamentalist zealots, and warmongers who will eventually start a nuclear war. We're joined now by Sinsara Taylor. She's an organizer with Refuse Fascism. Sinsara, thanks for joining us. So I was reading your manifesto tonight, and you said this: the Trump regime is a fascist regime, no insult or exaggeration, that's what it is. For the future of humanity and the planet, we the people must drive this regime out.
She looks really
so I'm assuming you're not a moderate necessarily, but the obvious question arises, which is, if it's a fascist regime, how are you on this show?
Look, Donald, we're facing an emergency. Humanity is facing an emergency. A fascist regime has seized the reins of power in the most powerful, actually the sole superpower in the world. Trump and Pence are operating out of Hitler's playbook, only they have nuclear weapons. And what RefuseFascism.org is saying to the world is that while it's beautiful, it's righteous that millions of people have stood up in protest and continue to do so. And by the way, since I know he sometimes watches, President Trump, if you're watching, way more people have protested than were at your Nazi inauguration. But while this is beautiful, this resistance needs to grow, and people need to confront that this is a fascist regime that could drop the hammer and close down. It's working aggressively to close down the space for people to stand up and resist. And so in the name of humanity, 7 billion on this planet, we need to pour into the streets and say no. We refuse to accept a fascist America. We refuse to accept this for the world, and we must drive them out. We need to stay in the streets.
I mean, so many questions come to mind, but the obvious one is this. I always thought that the day somebody got up, a Republican, and said, you know what, we got to focus on jobs, no more pointless wars in the Middle East, and by the way, I'm a secular guy, they would say, you know, it's kind of my kind of Republican. You know, I mean,
a man who campaigned and said, I long for the days when protesters were dragged out on stretchers, who offered to pay the bills of people who assaulted protesters at his rally. Donald Trump is a fascist. That's out of Hitler's playbook. This is a danger to humanity. And yes, it's in its early stages, but people need to rise up and stop it before it is too late.
Okay, so, but I want to get to that. Rise up and stop it. So I'm assuming that, I mean, you're not serious. I mean, this is like play acting for you. If you really thought he was Hitler, if you really believed that he was acting according to, as you said, the playbook of Hitler, then you wouldn't stop with going on a cable show. I mean, you'd go all the way, wouldn't you? I mean, you don't really think that, or you'd be committing acts of violence, right?
I absolutely think. Actually, he's not like Hitler. He has a Twitter feed, he has that ugly orange thing on top of his head, and he has nuclear weapons, the biggest nuclear arsenal in the world. And people better wake up, because he is more dangerous than Hitler ever could have been.
But I mean, let's just be real for a second. I know we're on TV, but please be real. If you really thought that...
Hold on, you implied something, and I want to answer it. You implied that I'm going to do something that's untoward, whatever. I'm calling for mass political protest and resistance, building on what's happened and staying in the streets in the name of humanity. Before the man starts, he asked 3 times, if I have nukes, why can't I use them?
No, I
this
can
is mass incineration of human beings on an industrial scale.
I can see you're spun up here.
Humanity.
But let's just be more specific, because I want to take you seriously. I assume you're being serious, hard as it is to believe, when you use rhetoric like he's Hitler, he's going to incinerate the world.
No, I said nuclear weapons are the mass incineration of human beings on an industrial scale. Oh, sure.
You think he could destroy the world?
Nukes are no big deal for you. I know you like to carry water for the liar-in-chief. I know you like to justify and rationalize the sexual predator-in-chief. But I don't think this is a joke. This is for humanity, and he is dangerous.
But what are you going to do about it, Sinsara? That's my question. Other than, like, jump around in the street with a sign in your hand, okay, no, and write your little manifesto.
RefuseFascism.org has a manifesto, as you said. RefuseFascism.org. We say we have 4 things people should do. They should manifest the no. They should protest every outrage and crime. But we have to have a single unifying objective. And the people who are waking up in this country who are horrified by this man with his finger on the nuclear weapon, we need to recognize that he has to be driven from office through mass political resistance before it is too late. Fascism advances through stages. Shock, awe, violence,
silly.
and then periods of normalization.
Fascism with political resistance, but whatever, you may not know
actually,
that.
It would have taken millions and millions to rise up to stop Hitler. It absolutely would have.
But what do you
and it's what people should have done.
Okay, may I ask you a real question?
It is shameful for
you
to
morally outraged, but hold on, I know it's shameful, but let me ask you this.
It's funny to you.
Question. So this
no, because I know you love to carry water for this criminal, this war criminal wannabe-in-chief.
Right.
He's itching.
But hold on.
You find that as petty matter?
There were 62...
Tucker, you find that petty. You find that a petty concern that he wants to...
I know that you're very petty, but I'm trying to ask you a real question.
Nuclear weapons are as serious as you can be.
I just want to ask you... Okay. Well, let me ask you one last question, okay? 62 million people voted for Trump, and disproportionately they were people at the lower end of the income scale. They were actually. They were middle class and below, mostly. Opposed to Trump were, I don't know, the hedge fund managers and privileged people like you. Did you ever think to yourself, why is the middle class...
He lost the popular vote. He lost the popular vote, and no election, fair or fraudulent, no election, fair or fraudulent, can justify ripping up the rule of law, undermining the courts, threatening and shutting down the press.
You should throw a duly elected president out of office.
No, I'm saying people should resist. Yes, that's what he means when he says so-called judge. That's what he means when he fires an attorney general who disagrees with his laws.
What I want to do is get to how you think.
Normalize fascism. What you want to do is try to caricature and dismiss people who are telling the truth.
For me. Thanks, though.
Okay, there it is.
Tried.
I would have cut it a long time ago, but I mean, I don't have a TV show, but
I think there'd have been a lot more yelling if you would have done the interview.
Me? Oh, I would have been fighting them. I'd have been
raised voices.
I will fight nutting up all the time. I mean, that's the left in America today. No sense, no common sense, no reality. Kept talking about the finger on a nuclear weapon. You think he just sits there and holds it and say, let me see who I want to blow up today? This is crazy. These people are crazy just like the press is. And how many times you brought up Hitler? She made the comment, Trump is more dangerous than Hitler ever was. 6 million Jews, among other people. I don't know how many millions that man killed. This is night and day. These people are crazy. They're Looney Tunes. They're going to stay Looney Tunes. By the way, she mentioned liar in chief. How many times did Obama lie? You like your health care plan? You can keep it. They're going to save you $2,500 a year on your premiums. I mean, one lie after another. Lied about everything. Lied about the economy. I mean, just one lie after another. And how about sex predator in chief? Anybody remember Bill Clinton? I mean, he loves 19-year-old interns. And among other people. These women weren't there burning Clinton. They were defending him. The left has no credibility in anything. If you look around the world, Venezuela, Cuba, Mexico, go around the world, they're all failed countries because of policies of the left. It's unbelievable. But did you hear this woman go on and on and on? And Love mentioned the word fascism. I guarantee you, if you interviewed the group of people that are protesting and asked them what a fascist was, they could never, ever give you the definition of it. Because they wouldn't know. They would never know. Because they don't know what they're doing. They have no clue. They probably don't have no job either. And that's why they protest, because they have nothing else to do. Sounds fun to me. This is what we fight against, folks. I mean, they always accuse the right of doing all this. That's not what the right does. It's not even close. We called Obama a liar because he is. I mean, he did lie. He lied about everything. Okay, he lied about the economy. He lied about jobs. I mean, one lie after another, but this chick gets on here. She's nut. All right, we'll take some calls on the flip side because we got to take about a 6-7 minute break. We'll be back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Don't go nowhere, folks. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show on time as usual. Brandon's hollering at me.
Yeah, right.
I got down there and Ray caught me. And I was
blaming it on other people.
Absolutely. I'm just like hey, I've been around legislators.
Just like a politician.
Thank you. I've been around them long enough. But actually, Ray caught me, and he mentioned to me the ULM Magnesia State baseball score. That you
32-4.
I wasn't going to mention that. I'm saying you're going, that sounds like a football game. 32 runs? Holy cow. Come on, Hawks. We got to wake up. Gee, 32 runs. Some teams, your Cajuns, and I know Coach Robichaux, and Dan scored 32 runs in 6 games, or not 4 games yet. I'm putting it in perspective. Magnesia got 32 runs in 1 game. Gee whiz. I mean, just unbelievable. I mean, I'm doing the same thing you're going. I'm almost in shock. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the Moon Griffon Show. It's your opportunity to be a voice. By the way, conference committee, John Alario, LaFleur from Ville Platte, and Carter are the 3 Senate members of the conference committee on HB 3. 2 Dems, 1 Republican. Alario, LaFleur, and Tarver. Greg Tarver is an Edwin Edwards holdover like Alario. Now, I want you to think about this. I'm going back to Baton Rouge. And this is what makes me mad, and I made comments earlier. The state Republican Party, where are you? So John Alario is a Republican put there by Bobby Jindal, and, of course, the Republicans in the Senate who voted for him. I know some of you people go, man, you just don't like Alario. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. I'm just going to the source. So in the Senate Conference Committee, the senators, Alario, LaFleur, and Tarver, okay? We got a majority Republican Senate. And the president, John Alario, who's a Republican, appoints 2 Democrats to the conference. Both of them, LaFleur's a leftist, and if you think he's a leftist, Greg Tarver so far to the left, he didn't already fall off the cliff. They're holding him up. 2 Dems and 1 Republican. And you think we're going to get a fair shot in the legislature with the way the press is sucking up and kissing up on John Bel Edwards? The Alario fella is the problem. I'll say it from the top of the mountain. He is the problem, John Alario. But the biggest problem is probably weak Republicans. Wimps. Republican wimps. Folks, I'm watching this. You're going to get mad at me? You can say whatever you want. You don't know what he's talking about like some of the legislature does. Problem is, I know exactly what I'm talking about, and they know it. You got a conference committee, and the Republicans are supposed to hold the House and the Senate, and you got a guy like John Alario who is not a Republican. Well, he might be a Republican because that's I've lost with Republicans for a while. But he's no conservative. He's the problem, and he appoints 2 Democrats. And he's kissing up to John Bel Edwards and the state Republican Party once again. Sleep at the wheel. They don't come out. They don't send out nothing. They don't get their people to rally against this guy. If the House had guts, now let's go to the House. If the House had guts, they would reject the one-time money totally. Reject it. But no, because John Alario probably can call over there and get that done too. I mean, I want you to think about it. You got a conference committee, you know? Why don't they put, if there's any real Republicans in the Senate, put them in there. Will they have the guts to fight him? That's the problem. They won't. They voted for Alario. Y'all really think something's going to change in the state? All we're going to get starting April 10th is how they need to raise taxes, how we hadn't raised enough taxes. They're not going to ever talk about spending problem. Folks, they're going to put this economy out of business in the whole state of Louisiana with the ignorance that they're talking about. And I'm telling you, I don't care if it's Jim Richardson or Alario or somebody in the Gannett newspaper or these brainiacs that they put on these committees, they are not helping us. Where's cable? Where's PAR? Oh, we need tax reform, Mr. Griffon, because they don't look at spending either. 2 organizations that's been around forever. And then poor lobby, that's not the lobby Dan Juneau helped run. This is the lobby that we put a guy named Wagaspack, who was Bobby Jindal's right-hand man. It's just, I'm so disappointed. Nobody with guts in Baton Rouge. None. So what they going to do, I read an article today. Budget goes down to the last hour. Well, Brandon, they do that every year. It's always the last hour. They can do an 85-day session, last hour. They can do a 60-day session, which is coming up, last hour. They did a 9-day session. Going to the last hour. Does it matter how many days? I mean, Brandon, does it matter how many days they do it? We know on day 9 or day 60 or day 85 it's going to be, we have a conference committee. And that's John Alario. There's the guy, the adult in the room who continues to put leftists on the panel. Greg Tarver, my God, ask the people in Shreveport, not the ones that vote for him. I mean, you're talking about an Edwin Edwards right-hand man. Greg Senator Tarver, what a joke. What a joke. Alario and Tarver. Tarver was there for 20 years or 30 years, and then he left, and then he come rolling back. You think he's the answer? And there's John Alario now. He's a Republican. But that state, Brandon, did I give you the stuff on John Alario when they ran the commercial? It was a commercial. I think you did it.
Oh, yes.
I want to pull that back out because the man's never changed since he's been a Democrat or Republican. Where's the state Republican Party? You know, when he ran for Senate his first term, which was under Bobby Jindal's regime, the state Republican Party didn't think so highly of him. Soon as he became a Republican, he's the best guy in the world. Here it is. This was run by the state Republican Party when he ran, back when Jindal ran, when they thought he was a bad guy.
John Alario, ordered before grand juries and judges again and again. Jim Letton named him an unindicted co-conspirator. His records subpoenaed. Office meetings wiretapped by federal investigators. John Alario. Criminal conspiracy, corruption, and coercion. They say where there's smoke, there's fire. Unfortunately, it's Louisiana's reputation that got burned. John Alario, he's done enough for us. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do, but I'm the only one to think it. Nobody else thinks it but me. And the state Republican Party puts their arm around the man, and everybody in the state Senate voted unanimously for the guy to be president of the Senate. And then he puts 2 Democrats, one of them Greg Tarver, who's been there since the Edwards days. He's not helping the situation any. Folks, this is what's going on, and you can get mad, you can say what you want to. That's why nothing changes. And where's the state party? They ran all out against him. And as soon as Bobby Jindal gets him to be a Republican, John, you're one of us. Give a big hug. Now, Peacock, big old hug. He can use him for everything. What is the deal? Y'all really expect something to change? Why would it change when the same guy running it 40-something years ago is still running? He got his buddy Tarver, Francis DeFeet Thompson, liberal Democrats helping him. I'm watching this stuff, and I'm laughing. Here it is, a headline. Oh, Greg Hillman headline too, Brandon. Budget deal shaky. Rest on final day House vote. Really? The final day. Now, I brought it up. The state Republican Party, I'm telling y'all, I'm trying to be nice to the state party in the fact that I know it's the only game in town, but it's not a good game to go watch. And it's a shame. I don't think the grassroots people understand how the state party is sitting on their hands again. In the Greg Hilburn article, and by the way, I say that because we never know if it's true or not. Other House Republicans were angry with that Edwards Commission of Administration. Jay Darden criticized Barra's plan to the committee. It wasn't helpful, said Representative Jack McFarland, Republican of Winfield. I'm hoping cooler heads prevail Wednesday. Not me. I want to stop this mess. How are cooler heads going to prevail when all the cooler heads are leftist low-life Edwin Edwards Democrats? Here it is. Darden said he was just being consistent in the characterization of Barra's bill. But House GOP Chairman Lance Harris of Alexandria said members considered Darden's remarks flippant and disrespectful. Because that's who Jay is. Little Jay Darden, the co-governor of the one-term governor John Bel Edwards, who knifed the Republicans and knifed the conservatives and knifed the people in this state, is sitting there working with a leftist. Harris said, I didn't appreciate it, but that's more the same from Darden. It just makes compromise harder. Then don't compromise with them. Jay Darden carrying the water for a leftist because he's a leftist. Y'all go ahead and keep letting John Alario run the show. We'll be so poor and broke, we'll all be moving out. Take a break. We'll be back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. By the way, just curious, why are you people registered in the Republican Party? I'm just curious. I mean, to say you control the House and control the Senate. And by the way, the press uses that against them all the time. When Jindal had control of everything, and look what the Republicans did. It was a combination of Republicans, Democrats come to the Republican Party, and Democrats. That middle-of-the-road group will get you run over every time. If you don't believe me, go stand up in the middle of the highway or the interstate, stay in the middle of the road, and watch your rear end get run over. We're getting run over. We're getting run over. We're getting run over, and where's the state Republican Party in all this? I'm curious. There's nobody challenging these people but me. This is so frustrating to watch what's happening in the state. Why are you people? Why are we voting for Republicans again in the state of Louisiana? Why? I just want to know why. I mean, somebody help me here. And you can call in and say, well, you ever looked at the Democrats? Yeah. And they still running the show. John Alario's a joke. The man is a joke. You're being kind of ugly with Alario. No, I'm being honest with about Alario. I'm the only one. He's the problem. Let's go to Joy in Abbeville. Joy, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, Moon. I'm doing good.
You're doing better than me, so go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think it's time that those folks in Baton Rouge that are living off of us, is basically what they are. They're parasites. We need to they don't get paid till they produce. In the real world, you and I, unless we produce, and we don't make a living.
I got news for you. If it was about getting paid to be produced, they'd be paying us to be down there.
That's what I'm saying. This special session, they don't get paid. Give the money back you got. You didn't produce anything. You didn't fix any problems. It's kind of like...
No, let me what they're doing. They're saving that. Watch the bombardment of the press and everybody else. Watch them when they go to tax reform. You are going to freak out on how many people is going to come out of the woodwork saying, this is what we need to do, because everything's about that state government. Everything's about their budget. It's not about you and your family and your job, none of that. And I'm telling you, if they're not careful, they're going to send us back. I'm talking about a long ways back.
Growing up, when I went to college, if I passed my classes, my folks would help me pay for my tuition. If I didn't do well, I didn't get paid back to help me go through life. We need to do the same thing. If you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing and doing a good job at it, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where we're at, Moon. They getting paid to just go there and eat and wine and dine on us and live like kings.
Let me ask you a question. What state Republican Party? I mean, you got John Alario putting two liberal, Bill Platt. Guy's a very liberal Democrat, and I'm telling you, Greg Tarver, ex-people in the Shreveport area, fall off the cliff, Edwin Edwards leftist. Same thing as John Alario. That's three of the people sitting on his committee. I mean, think about that.
It's a club, Moon. They're in the club. They're like a country club.
But where's the state Republican Party?
They're useless. They're useless.
I mean, I don't see the purpose of having a party if you're going to help to elect people like John Alario. Okay, and say, boy, look, we got a Republican majority, and then they turned around, all these Republicans vote for John Alario, and then we get screwed.
It's like, and I'll use the term mammaries on a boar hog. Even a boar hog has mammaries, but they're useless.
Yeah. All right, brother. Appreciate the call. Jason in Shreveport. Jason, how you doing?
I'm great, Moon. The previous caller was talking about Republicans and Democrats, they shouldn't be paid. The fact is they already got paid. They get paid prior to this. The super PACs, George Soros and these people, they control more than just one super PAC. So they pay off the Republican and the Democrat in the election by donating millions into their campaign. When they win, they declare all the leftover election money, the campaign money, they declare that as profit and pay a little tax and continue on. So they actually get richer and richer, not by their salary, but by the donation.
Well, first of all, there's new laws against taking money like your campaign. You can't just go put it in your pocket anymore. Used to you could, but you can't do that anymore. But that don't mean they don't get wealthy that way. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. They're getting wealthier, just like Obama. He went in and just, he got richer. How did he get that rich?
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. Every leftist organization around the world will give him money. But listen, I'm going to go back to Baton Rouge. Why would you vote for John Alario if you're a real Republican, a real conservative? You wouldn't. So he gets it. So they got a conference committee. He brings in Eric LaFleur, who's at best a leftist. And you bring in Greg Tarver, who's the old Edwin Edwards guard, just like John Alario. The same type crap is going on since the Edwards days. And this guy is in charge, and you got the state Republican Party. Where are y'all at? We'll see y'all at the next fundraiser. Just get Republicans elected. Well, they got Republicans elected, and then change one thing. Not one thing.
That's right.
Unbelievable, Jason. Unbelievable. Got to roll. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. Well, the state Republican Party, listen. You've got a better chance of hearing the crickets than you do the state Republican Party. We'll take a break. Be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Giving Brandon some more marriage tips. At least this time, I told you this is what not to do.
Exactly.
And you agree with me.
Oh,
no
yeah,
argument.
I agree with you.
I'm not going to say this one on the air. Things can be held against me.
The things Tanya has to put up with you, man.
Ooh, she must be a saint somewhere.
Uh-huh.
844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Let's go to phone lines. Bobby in Breaux Bridge. How you doing, Bobby?
Hey, Moon. How you doing today?
Doing fine, sir.
Listen, I was listening to you talking about the Republicans that they keep elected. Aurelio, whatever his damn name is.
John
because they're not, a lot of them are not Republicans. They only run Republicans because they knew they couldn't win as Democrats.
Yeah, but they act
don't
just
you
like...
feel that?
Oh, yeah, John Alario could have won. John Alario could have been a communist czar in his era, and he would have won. I'm just telling you, he could have. It wouldn't have mattered what he was, but he changed Republican. And John, to his credit, let me give him, he was honest. He said, they asked him why you changed the Republican. He said, because I can't be Senate Speaker. Can't be the president of the Senate. And what basically Bobby Jindal told him was become the president of the Senate. Because when Jindal got elected, and I told people this was coming, when he got elected, he was elected Saturday. By Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, he did a press conference and said, well, I'm behind John Alario as the Senate president. And I lost my mind. I lost my mind on it then. And he got every vote but Barrow Peacock, who, by the way, voted for him last time. And Barrow Peacock, he actually owns that guy now. And so I'm just letting you know, then when I remember the great Ronnie Johns, senator from Lake Charles, who made the comment, I don't know who's going to be the House Speaker or something like that, but I know who's going to be the Senate President, John Alario. I thought, boy, Ronnie Johns, what a man. What a way to step up as a conservative Republican. So that's why I'm asking, where's the state party? This guy's a joke. This guy's ruined the state. And think about if he was a conservative Republican. You wouldn't put the guy from Ville Platte, what was his name again?
Eric LaFleur.
Eric LaFleur, and you wouldn't put Greg Tarver. You wouldn't put Greg Tarver. Greg Tarver served in him with the Edwards administration. You got to go back in those administrations. He was part of the Dirty Dozen. He was horrible. I'm talking about a leftist, and that's the Republican, John Alario, putting these people. And then you got Jay Darden, who I've been telling people is a little leftist, and everybody sees Jay now. There's a few people in Baton Rouge who like Jay, besides Jim Beam at the Lake Charles American Press, who loves him, that when you look at his record, this didn't surprise me at all. Not in the least bit.
Yeah, don't get me started on Jay Darden.
But I mean, Jay Darden is helping a leftist regime in the state of Louisiana. He's helping rebuild the Democrat Party, is what Jay Darden's doing.
Exactly. And what's bad is it's not just the state. It's federal. You got the same problem going through the federal government.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Bobby, it's just, when I look at this, I'm going, wow, why does nothing change? And I talked about this yesterday. It doesn't change because we, the people, aren't demanding it. We keep electing Republicans, and then we just go away. The state Republican Party goes out and brags, hey, we own the Senate, we own the House, we had the governorship, and then, but you start looking at the people that made the changes to the Republican Party, and it's a joke. This is really becoming a joke, and we're getting our brains blown out. And wait till tax reform comes. Wait till tax reform comes, and you got Buddy Romer and some of these other people out there running around, hollering that, hey, no, we need to do this. And all they're going to want to do is take more of your money.
Of course. And it's going to continue.
Well, they're going to take
you have a good day.
All right, thanks, Bob. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. You let somebody call from Shreveport, Bossier area, and let them tell you about Greg Tarver. And that's who Alario picks? I mean, I'm talking about a guy here, give me something, I'll do whatever you want to do. Well, John Alario loves people like that because he's not a leader, he's a deal maker. And everybody gives him the purse, the money. That's why they all say, go to Big John. Big John's a dog in the room. He's the magician. Michael Jordan. I mean, he is because they give it to him. Frustrating, man, to watch what they're doing to us, and nobody cares but me. Let's go to James in New Iberia. James, how you doing?
Hello, Moon.
How you doing, sir?
Moon, listen, at 5 o'clock on this same station, there's supposedly, they claim to be conservatives. They claim it's a conservative talk show, radio talk show.
Now, dude, James, you know I'm not going to comment on another program. I mean, I'm always a team with everybody, and everybody does their own thing. So I'm not commenting on another talk program. I just don't. That's just, I mean, people have commented on me before, and they can, and that's cool, but I don't, unless, I don't want you to go there unless you just got some information.
Well, I do have information.
All right, you give me the information.
Of the tax hike. They're in favor of the tax hike.
Well, I mean, and that's their choice, but I'm telling you, our problem in this state is overspending. We're never going to address it. So if we're not going to address it, one of two things are going to happen. We either address it or we raise more taxes and we say everything's cool to the next blow up because we didn't change anything fundamental. So it was no different than me saying, man, I got problems with my money, and I'm bringing in a lot of money, but I got so much debt, and I think another credit card is going to help me. So we're not going to change anything. Let them pass it. That's fine. But let me tell you something. They're getting ready to set up a disaster for this state. I read yesterday, Wall Street 24/7 listed our economy as the worst economy for doing business in the country. Now, raising taxes on businesses and people is not going to make that better. It's going to be even worse.
Yeah, well, I just thought it was strange that they're in favor of tax hike, and yet they.
Man, I got news for you. We got so many people on the government tit. You probably got a lot of people for tax increases, and the thing about it is, it's going to hurt us more. It's going to hurt us more. It's not going to help us. It's going to hurt us more. That's what's frustrating.
Yeah,
it is frustrating.
And one of them, Dr. John was bashing Brandon.
Well, I'm not going there, brother. I got to roll. Appreciate the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the Moon Griffon Show now. Lanny Keller wrote a piece, Bringing the Washington Swamp to Baton Rouge. And his whole piece is ramming and slamming and jamming Republicans, especially the conservatives. Reality has had to reckon with the partisan agenda of the House GOP caucus. Normally led by Speaker Taylor Barra. The real powers in the House Appropriation Committee were Chairman Cameron Henry, and his members have taken the extreme the notion that is the duty of the opposition to oppose. What's extreme about trying to stop a runaway train? Why do you want to not stop a train that's going in the wrong direction? Is that not what Trump's victory was? These Republicans better figure this out. The process, though, has been more about politics than policy. Now, you're dealing with Lanny Keller. Lanny Keller is about as left as you're going to get. It's politics and policy. Once Edwards, a Democrat, called a special session, House caucus was in high dudgeon about using the rainy day fund. Appropriation members picked a fight, and quite a hypocritical one. That was the only one of many short-term expenditures, dodges or dubious budget practices, most of them willingly endorsed when Bobby Jindal, Republican, was in office. So he brings up Bobby Jindal 3 or 4 times. You know what's sad about this, Brandon? Once again, Brandon, if I sound like I'm defending Bobby Jindal, please let me know. But I'm not. But here's what's funny. He doesn't write about Bill Edwards voting for 5 of the 8 budgets. Not one thing. Lanny Keller didn't write about that. John Alario voted for all 8 budgets. John Alario always votes for the budget. John Alario got his way with the budget in the Senate every time. Nothing about that. The budget had as many Democrats and more than Republicans voting on it. Then he brings up the great, I'm telling y'all, Jay Darden is the John McCain of Louisiana. Okay? He's the John McCain of Louisiana. The press loves him. He said, meeting of appropriations turned on fellow Republican Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden. They turned on Jay. Jay never turned on us. Lanny Keller writes that the Republicans turned on old Jay. Oh, Jay Darden, the guy that knows everything from anything. And Jay Darden didn't turn on us back in the election. He says we turned on Jay Darden. He said Jay Darden, a longtime senator and a state official, ready for this, who actually understands the budget the House members muck around in. Now, Brandon, you have to pull out something we can do when we get back. Jay Darden with John Schroeder. Just going to have to have it. Let's go ahead. We can go ahead and take the break, unless you want to play it first. Whatever you'd like to do. All right. So, Jay Darden, who actually understands the budget that House members muck around. Jay understands it. Jay understands he got its rear end handed to him, and I'll play that when I get back. Your calls, all that. Don't go nowhere, folks. Don't go nowhere, because we got a lot to cover in a short time. We'll be right back. Moon Griffon Show, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Yes. Lanny Keller, I've never seen. They've been watching this for 15 years of the rallying behind Jay Darden. Rally behind Jim Beam's probably the worst of all of them. Rally behind a man. He's known. He's credible. And he got thrown out. They didn't want him for governor. He's so credible. And then he knifes the Republicans just like John McCain. I mean, exactly like he's the John McCain of Louisiana, Jay Darden. And I'm telling you he is. And they came there. Jay Darden actually understands the budget like nobody else does. Now, Brandon, you do have that piece. Tell me when you got it. Here's Jay Darden trying to explain to people. First person you hear is going to be Darden. Second person is going to be Cameron Henry, just to make sure he knew they had budget cuts. And then when Jay Darden starts preaching, because the people in the press have built him up as being smarter than them, and he's not. Okay, he's a leftist partisan. Look what he's working with. The very liberal John Bel Edwards. He's working side by side with him. Okay? And then you're going to hear John Schroeder rip a new one on him. And by the way, this is on my Facebook. Here we go.
To make. The cuts that you proposed were not acceptable to the administration.
But we did propose cuts. That's all I wanted you to get out there, that we had proposed cuts to you. That's all I was getting.
You proposed cuts, but the governor is not in a position to negotiate with a handful of legislators.
He doesn't want to do anything. I got it.
Well, he wants to do a lot. But he doesn't want to negotiate with a handful of legislators that doesn't necessarily represent the will of the entire body. Your job as a legislature is to pass a bill and present it to the governor that says what you think ought to happen to solve this problem.
I'm just glad somebody's telling me why I'm here and what job I should be. Jay, and I don't think I've ever sat here and told you how to do your job. And I can tell you this, that I know for a fact. The people of Louisiana don't want us to raise our taxes. Now, you can spin that however you want to do it. But in my world, when I got to go home and close a business and lay people off, that doesn't happen here. This doesn't happen here. We cannot raise revenue right now when you got businesses back home losing money, laying people off. We got less jobs in Louisiana today than we did last year. So the reality is, since you're telling me how to do my job, the reality is we don't live within our means. That's the reality. It doesn't mean I don't give a rat what everybody wants.
Rat what?
And every year it's the same thing, whether it's Governor Edwards or Governor Jindal. It's the same type of stuff. I see one-time money everywhere. The intent of the legislation that we passed several years ago was to stop having these kind of conversations. And you know that. One-time money being spent on reoccurring expenses is bad for everybody. I know it's difficult. And I don't need to be told what I need to do. I've sat in this same seat for years, arguing what we need to do. You, along with others, didn't want to listen.
Jay.
And didn't want to do it.
Jay.
So don't sit there 10 years later now and tell me how to do my job. I know what my job is. And as a legislator, I know we're spending more money than we have. And that's a problem. And we're not doing anything in this plan, and you haven't said anything at all to help me help you. We have not addressed anything structurally at all. No policy, nothing. Unless I missed the press conference or the news release, I haven't seen one thing that fixes or revamps something structurally in the state of Louisiana when it comes to government.
Jay. By the way.
Thought I'd throw that in there.
By the way,
for
thank you, Brandon. And by the way, it is sinful. It is shameful. And Jay Darden's been a part of that. When he was a state senator, folks. Okay? It could have been called the Darden-Stelly plan. This guy right here it's amazing they're trying to prop up a zero. It's hard to prop up zero. This guy was Senator Darden. Would y'all tell me one thing he did to stop this? The runaway train's been going on. He was Senator Darden. He was the head of finance. And Lanny Keller, this guy knows more about the budget. He actually understands it. He probably does. He's been around it. He watched it go up, 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 up. He watched us change nothing. He's not trying to change nothing with the one-term Governor Bel Edwards. He's a co-governor. And I'm glad somebody like Schroeder had the guts to call him out. And you notice Jay wasn't trying to interrupt him because he couldn't. Everything he was saying was true. But that's not what the press tells us. That's not what Jim Beam's become such a joke too. All these people, Greg Hillman, Lord, I've been dealing with him for 23 years. He couldn't get the truth right if it's popped him in the face. He'd go, what the hell was that? And then there's Lanny Keller, Lanny leftist Keller, writing a story defending Jay Darden, somebody who actually understands the budget in the House. And then he does this. And by the way, he hit Jindal 2 or 3 times in this. But the hypocrisy does not end with that. The members of the House in particular, talking about Cameron Henry and Schroeder, are obstacles to any and all revenue-raising proposals, tax increases, which would be necessary in April to right the ship. They also have to address longer-term reforms in the tax code. So Lanny Keller with Jay Jordan is calling for what? They want to right the ship. They're going to right the ship by taking more money from businesses and more money from individuals. Folks, do you see what these people are doing? Lanny Keller don't have a clue. He just jumps on the Jay Jordan honor code Edwards bandwagon because they want leftists in there. They love it. They love Jay Jordan knife fitter. Love that him and Scott Angel did the job. Republicans, of course. It's just amazing. Then you heard Schroeder say something. Our economy, our businesses are hurting right now. You don't do what they're getting ready to tell us they have to do next session, which is jack up taxes on everybody. You don't do what they're getting ready to do and survive. We're not going to survive with the way they're approaching this. They have an 7 to 8% increase in the budget this year, despite all these cuts you're listening to, and it's still not enough. They raised $2.8 billion in new taxes. Still not enough. So what do you think, folks? Jay Jordan's been there. He's never fixed anything. He's just the darling of the left. The John McCain of Louisiana. That's who he is. They built him up fighting against Republicans before. They're building him up now, fighting against Republicans now. What other thing? Oh, here it is. This is Lanny Kelly. Sure, the state has thrown away the water baskets that gender appointees use for the request of those bucking the governor's agenda. The people that was bucking Jindal, Schroeder, Cameron Henry, Brett Guyman. There's a bunch more. There just wasn't enough of them. Those budgets were being passed by John Alario and people like Francis Thompson, the fee. You know, and some of these Republicans that are so weak it's not even funny. The voters in Louisiana endorsed draining the swamp in Washington in the November presidential election. Meanwhile, state lawmakers are in the process of making a bog of their own. Yes, because you're not going along with Jay Jordan and John Alario and Greg Tarver and Francis Thompson DeFee and Paige Cortez. You know, you're not going along with those nice Republicans who just go along and get along and keep doing the same thing they've been doing. Blade Morris, Blade. Blade's a tax and free spend liberal too. And I can go on and name them all, but go read the Republicans and how they vote. And this is, you're getting ready to be hit from the press like you've never been hit. They're going to use cable and Jim Richardson, and they're going to use PAR, and they're going to use, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. And everything is to take money out of your pocket. Everything is to separate you from your money. Everything is to give state government more money. Not your home, not your house, not your business. And you're getting ready to watch it. You're getting ready to watch it unfold starting April 10th for 60 days. They're going to shove it down your throat because we have weak Republicans in the state party. God bless them is all I can tell you if they don't stand up and stop some of this and run some real Republicans against these weak-minded ones. All right, that's all I got to say today, Brandon. Why? Because I don't have any more time. I'll go talk to myself in the truck. What the hell? We'll see you tomorrow, folks. God bless. Have an awesome day.